Bit of rotation with this particular thunderstorm that's located over Worth heading to the east. Let's go ahead and check out some of the velocity data, and we'll see what the actual what it actually looks like. So there you see some of those reds and some greens just to the east of Lorain. Of course, the greens are inbound and the red is outbound. So there you see just to the west of Worth Center, just to the south and west of Worth, that's where the worst of the weather is right now. And looking at this particular thunderstorm, it's rather large and it's rather intense. Also, you can anticipate maybe a little bit of small hail associated with this and potentially some gustier winds as well. Let's go ahead and zoom out and actually look at the actual Doppler radar, the composite reflectivity, so to speak, to see where the worst of the precipitation is. And right around Worth, it looks like that's where the worst of the weather is, and that's where it's going to continue to be for the next couple of minutes. So if you're in the path of this storm, definitely seek shelter. Don't run outside and try to take pictures or video of this, because this is a rather intense thunderstorm, and all this activity has been moving to the east and southeast. Let's go ahead and widen out the view a little bit more and see where the actual worst of the weather is right now. And take note, the heavier reds just south of Pinckney, and it looks like also a couple of showers over towards Windecker and also towards Denmark as well. So the National Weather Service, if you're just tuning in, has issued a tornado warning based on the Doppler radar indicating a little bit of rotation over the Tug Hill Plateau, I think near Worth. All this activity heading to the east and to the southeast. Let's go ahead and check out that warning once again, because this just popped up just a couple of minutes ago. And we can get our bearings and kind of catch our breath, so to speak, and see exactly who is involved with this tornado warning that is Doppler indicated. Now that means that we're just seeing rotation on the Doppler radar. It doesn't mean that there's not a tornado on the ground, but we haven't had verification of that yet. So the hazard is tornado. Radar indicated rotation. Impact would be flying debris, of course. That would be dangerous to those caught outside without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or potentially destroyed if there's an actual tornado on the ground. Maybe some damage to roofs, windows, and also vehicles will occur. And tree damage is likely. This is an area with a lot of trees, of course, and on top of the Tug Hill Plateau anyways. Locations impacted would include Barnes Corners, Whetstone Gulf State Park, Lorain, Worth, Bellwood, and also Rector as well. All right, let's go ahead and check out that velocity data once more so we can see if we've gotten an update from the Doppler radar. Of course, the Doppler radar updates about every 5 minutes or so, and we can see if it actually has updated over the past couple of minutes anyways. Seeing a better circulation, so to speak, just to the north and west of Worth Center. And notice the greens are inbound and the reds are outbounds. Just to the south of Worth. That's where the tightest circulation, so to speak, is. So let's go ahead and draw on the actual Doppler radar itself so we can see right where the tightest circulation would be. And there you see it. Not a lot of homes out here, not any large, this isn't really a big population center, but still, you know, dealing with that risk for a little bit of potentially a funnel cloud, potentially a tornado. Once again, nothing has reached the ground as far as we know right now, and we'll definitely be keeping our eyes on that and see if we actually have a tornado on the ground. But this is just Doppler radar indicating a little bit of a spin in the atmosphere. So, and we'll keep our eyes on that. Now, the tornado warning is valid until 6 p.m., so we'll stay on the air and we'll watch this over the next couple of minutes anyways until either A, the National Weather Service drops the warning, or B, it's 6 o'clock, and then we'll get off the air and we'll just have the local evening news. All right, let's go ahead and check the composite radar. That actually tells us exactly where the heaviest of the rain is right now. And there you see it right around Worth Center, and also it looks like just to the west of Montague. That's where the heaviest of the rain is. So watching this storm, well, of course, we'll keep our eyes on it, as it is a tornado warning, of course. A Doppler indicated tornado warning. And we'll have to wait and see if we actually get any kind of spin, any kind of circulation, any kind of touchdown, so to speak. But definitely, if you're in the path of the storm, say around Barnes Corners, over towards Rector, over towards Montague, or Bellwood, New Boston, you definitely want to not go outside. You don't want to go outside. You don't want to check this out. You don't want to take some video, so to speak, or maybe take some pictures. as this is a rather dangerous situation. Of course, there's thunder and lightning involved with this as well, and potentially some small hail. So let's go ahead and check the velocity data again so we can see if it's updated and see where the tightest of the circulation is right now. Let's get our bearings here really quick. Notice this is all east of Adams, east of Lorain, and north and east of the Winona Forest. And there you see that red-green couplet. And this is what I'm talking about. The reds outbounds, the greens are inbounds. And this, if there is any kind of circulation out there, this is where the Doppler radar has indicated it is, just to the south of Worth. And all this activity has been moving pretty much to the east. So we'll definitely, we'll have to watch this storm over the next couple of minutes as the radar will be updating over the next 5 minutes or so, and we'll see if we actually get a spin up out of this. But I can rest assured we are dealing with some heavier downpours and some thunder and lightning and potentially some small hail as well. As far as the rest of the area, a couple of showers, a couple of thunderstorms, mainly scattered about the North Country. This is all because of an area of low pressure, a cold front that is working on through. And this front will cool things off over the next couple of days anyways. Looks like the worst of the weather right now, think around Worth Center, but as we widen out the view, notice over towards Henderson. These are just plain Jane thunderstorms. Nothing as far as any kind of severe weather with these. Over towards Henderson, west of Adams, you already dealt with a couple of showers and storms just a couple of minutes ago. And there you see another batch getting ready to roll on through. It looks like over towards Lowville, yes, you're dealing with more in the way of rain. It's been quite the last couple of months, right, with all the precipitation we have been dealing with. And that will indeed be the case for the next couple of hours anyways. Some heavier showers and storms passing on by, and not to be left out up in St. Lawrence County. These are all non-severe. Some heavier downpours, it looks like, south of Colton, and also over towards, well, you know, just north of Tupper Lake. All this activity heading to the east. Eventually, they'll work on out of here over the next couple of hours. Once again, a tornado warning has been issued by the National Weather Service in Buffalo, and there you see that red showing up in that tornado warning. The worst of the weather right now, the offending thunderstorm, so to speak, think over towards Worth and over towards Worth Center. All this activity has been slowly making its way to the east. And it appears like right now the heaviest of the rain right around Worth, like I've been saying, right around Worth Center. And it looks like this is not a really a high population area, so to speak. There's not a lot out there. This is, of course, the Tug Hill Plateau. But when the National Weather Service does issue a tornado warning, that means that A, the Doppler radar has either indicated rotation, or B, there's actually been an observed tornado on the ground. This one is the former, not so much the latter. The Doppler radar is indicating a little bit of rotation over the Tug Hill Plateau, think over towards Worth, and all this activity, like I've been saying, has been making its way to the east. So that's always a good thing, right? It's not really moving towards any high-density population regions. And I'm hoping that this eventually winds on down over the next couple of minutes and we can call it quits. But as of right now, there you see that couplet, that red and that green couplet indicating that rotation. Now the greens are inbound and the reds are outbound, so it looks like the tightest of the rotation right there just to the north of Worth Center. And I've seen worse, right? Over the past couple of years anyways, we've seen a whole lot of tornado warnings in the area. We've actually had that big tornado a couple of years back that blew through Lewis County. And that was a lot better looking on the Doppler radar anyways. But still, we have to watch these things, and we have to definitely keep our eyes on them. And there you have it, another tornado warning in effect near Worth Center. This activity has been moving to the east. Not a lot of activity out here. Not a lot of homes, maybe some cottages, some winter-type residents, right? Considering this is top of the Tug Hill Plateau where you do see a lot of snow in the winter. So that's one of your main activities, and I'm sure there's some four-wheeler trails up there as well. But not really a whole lot going on up here as far as activities, just a lot of trees, and, well, there's that tornado warning in place south of Worth. Let's go ahead and check out the warning and see if the National Weather Service has updated it, or if we're just still dealing with the tornado warning in place until 6 p.m. And there you see it, the National Weather Service still keeping that tornado warning in effect until 6 p.m. And the worst of the weather right now, as indicated by those darker colors, those reds and those Those oranges, it looks like just to the south of New Boston, just to the north and northeast of Worth Center. All this activity has been pushing its way to the east at about, I'm wondering what the speed is on this. Let's go ahead and check out the actual warning itself so we can see what the actual speed on this cell is. And it looks like the thunderstorm has been making its way to the southeast at about, let's see here, I guess probably 30 or 35 miles per hour. I'm reading the bulletin right now. Tornado warning. Buffalo has issued the tornado warning. It looks like severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Barnes Corners, or 14 miles south of Watertown, moving to the east at 20. So there you see it, 20 miles per hour. That's the movement on this, due east. And yeah, good thing is, of course, this is a low population area. There's not really a lot of people that live out that way, and you get a lot of snow out there too in the wintertime, so that's one thing we will be talking about over the next couple of months. Let's go ahead and check that velocity data once again and see if the actual Doppler radar has updated. Of course, it updates every 5 minutes, and well, at 5:23, so that would have been, yeah, there's the latest update on the Doppler radar. Still showing that very, well, you know, kind of an impressive couplet, at least for our neck of the woods anyways. The reds being outbound from the Doppler radar, the greens all being inbound. Of course, the Doppler radar located just to the east of this thunderstorm over towards Montague. And, well, notice, let's go ahead and draw on this. There you see that couplet, so to speak. Nothing all that tight. This isn't a big circulation. This isn't really an intense storm like we saw a couple of years back with that storm that blew through Turin, when we were seeing the whites and the blues on the Doppler radar indicating 70, 80 mile per hour winds. But still, a little bit of a twist in the air, a little bit of circulation right around Worth Center, and all this activity anyways has been pushing off to the east at about 30 miles per hour. As we go through the Doppler radar and check out where the rain is the heaviest right now, as you would suspect, right around the Doppler radar, west of Montague, there's where the radar is red and yellow, indicating those heavier downpours, and all this activity has been pushing off to the east. So not really seeing any confirmed reports of any tornadoes, just the Doppler radar indicating that little bit of rotation. That's enough to prompt the National Weather Service to issue that tornado warning in effect for areas south and east of the city of Watertown for this one lone thunderstorm along and ahead of a cold front that will be working on through and cooling things off, it looks like later on this evening and overnight. And that's going to set us up for actually some beautiful weather for the rest of the week. All right, let's go ahead and check out the actual tornado warning itself and see if the National Weather Service has updated the warning, or if they're just still calling it a tornado warning suspected on the ground as indicated by Doppler radar. And if there's any advisories or any updates to this actual warning itself, the actual Doppler or the Doppler radar will show us. And rest assured, they have not. It looks like we're still running with the tornado warning that was issued back at 5:09, so a couple of minutes back, until 6 p.m. for southeastern portions of Jefferson County, and all this activity eventually working your way towards Lewis County. Think over towards Montague, also over towards Bellwood. It looks like the worst of the weather right now over Worth and also Worth Center. All right, a quick check of the actual Doppler radar, the movement on this. Notice all this activity has been quickly making its way to the east, and that's a good thing. At least the storm will blow on through rather quickly. And it looks like it's headed over towards Montague and also, like I mentioned, Bellwood. Just south of 177. That's where the storm is currently moving. So one of the caveats to this, there's not really a whole lot of people out there, not a lot of homes out there, not a lot of businesses anyways. But as long as we see rotation on the Doppler radar, we will stay on the air and we will keep you updated as far as this storm as it moves on through. Oh, it looks like the Doppler radar has updated a bit, and it looks like the storm not really looking as impressive as it was just a couple of minutes ago. Now, up here in the North Country, one thing I have noticed is that the storms, they really don't hold together like they would, say, in the Southern Plains or in the Deep South, where there's a lot more moisture and a lot more the favorable ingredients to keep these storms really moving around for hours. Generally speaking, up here, we see them for maybe, 15, 20, 25, 30 minutes or so before things kind of wind on down. And that's when we see, generally speaking, these storms basically fizzle out after about 20, 30 minutes or so. And I'm inclined to believe that this will indeed be the case with this particular thunderstorm as it blows on through. Let's go ahead and check the velocity data once again so we can see if we're still seeing that nice red-green couplet. And there you see, it's kind of you're still seeing that little bit of that turning, that little spin in the atmosphere, but notice it's pushed a little bit further off to the east. So it looks like Worth, you're kind of getting out of the woods, so to speak, as all the activity now appears to be over towards Worth Center. And that's always a good thing, too, because having been out that way, there's not really a lot that goes on. There's not a lot of houses, not a lot of homes, hardly any businesses out this way. Just a lot of trees and a lot of woods and, well, a lot of trails. Let's go ahead and draw on here so we can see exactly where the circulation right now is. The greens being all inbound, the reds being all outbound, I should say. So looks like that circulation right now, mainly Worth Center, right around Worth Center anyways, but it appears to me anyways that it is falling apart, which is always a good thing. And that's leading me to believe anyways that this is all just rotation in the atmosphere. We're not really seeing anything touching the ground. Now there's a way to know if there's an actual tornado on the ground, and that's looking at our debris tracker. Now what this is going to show is whether or not we're seeing all rain or maybe a little bit of debris being thrown in the air. Think shingles, think branches, think dust and dirt. And from what I'm seeing right now, this is all mainly red. That's indicating to me that this is virtually all just rain, maybe a little bit of small hail as well. So all we're seeing right now potentially is maybe some rotation, maybe a little bit of a mesocyclone, a little bit of a spin up. That's a rotating updraft, maybe a funnel cloud. I'm not seeing a tornado on the ground, but anytime we do have those rotating thunderstorms that do have the potential to produce a tornado, to produce a funnel cloud, the National Weather Service will issue a tornado warning, and that is indeed has been the case. There you see, as far as the warnings right now, still dealing with a severe thunderstorm warning until 6 p.m., but of course the tornado warning supersedes that, also until 6 p.m., as indicated by the red. And as we check the actual Doppler radar and see where the heaviest of the precipitation is right now, think between Montague and Worth Center, but also over towards Windecker and Bellwood, seeing some heavier precipitation. But the actual rotation itself, right around Worth Center, hence the tornado warning. All this activity moving to the east-southeast at about 30 miles per hour. Let's check that velocity data again, and we can see if it's actually updated, the Doppler radar. Now the Doppler radar updates about every 5 minutes or so. And as we check the velocity data, nope, has not really updated yet. Well, updated at 5:30 anyway, so rest assured it did. All right, there you see that red and that green, and that indicates that little spin in the atmosphere just to the east of Worth Center. So greens are all inbound and reds are outbound. So that's where the bulk of the rotation is right now. Think just to the west of Montague, and all this activity has been heading off to the east. So now there is a little bit of rotation as indicated by the Doppler radar. What I can tell you is that the rain has been heavy at times. It's the last thing we need after all the rain we've gotten over the past couple of months. And there might be a little bit of small hail associated with this one thunderstorm that is rather strong and stronger than the rest of them that have been moving on through over the past couple of hours or so. So dealing with that severe thunderstorm warning and also that tornado warning, looks like this is all just rotation above the ground, meaning at worst, this might be a funnel cloud, or at worst anyways, this is what's called a mesocyclone, indicating that rotating thunderstorm that is a supercell thunderstorm, right? We talk about that on the air all the time. Supercell thunderstorms have those rotating updrafts, and that's what we're seeing on the Doppler radar right now. This whole thunderstorm has been rotating, and that's what leads to the development of tornadoes. If you get just the right conditions, we can see either a funnel cloud, or when the funnel cloud actually touches the ground, that's the definition of a tornado. So don't have anything as far as confirmation of an actual tornado or an actual funnel cloud at this time. But what we are seeing is that rotation of the atmosphere just to the west of Montague, and that's what's giving us, well, that tornado warning from the National Weather Service in Buffalo. All this activity has been moving to the east at about 30 miles per hour, so it looks like crossing over the line into Lewis County. Get ready, Montague. If this does hold together, and there's no reason to believe it won't, you will be dealing with the potential for maybe some gusty winds, some small hail, definitely some heavier downpours, some thunder and lightning, and potentially maybe a funnel cloud or potentially a tornado, as this system has been making its way to the east. All right, let's go ahead and check the actual Doppler radar itself. This is just velocity data that we were looking at, and there you see this cell is beginning to weaken. Now, earlier in the loop, so to speak, just a couple of minutes back, do you remember? We were seeing the reds, the more vivid colors, and notice now we're seeing more of a yellow and an orange, indicating that the thunderstorm is losing a little bit of its oomph. It's not quite as strong as it was, and well, that's to be expected, right, up here in the North Country, and especially this time of year as well. It really wasn't all that warm. It wasn't all that humid today, so we didn't have all the necessary ingredients for the larger storms, but we had just enough spin in the atmosphere, and that's what's giving us that tornado warning. It looks like just to the east of Worth Center. Good news is, like I've been mentioning, this is a low population density area, meaning there's not really a lot of people that live out this way on the Tug Hill Plateau. Lots of visitors, of course, in the wintertime when we get all those lake effect snow storms and everybody comes out with their snowmobile. Looks like the worst of the rain right now over towards Rector, over towards Montague. And it looks like over towards Windecker and also West Lowville as well. But as far as the tornado warning, still watching that potential for a tornado on the ground. And we'll stay on the air, of course, until the National Weather Service, drops this tornado warning. And it doesn't look like they're going to do so anytime soon. So there you see, until 6 p.m., that's when we're dealing with the tornado warning. And let's go ahead and check the velocity data again so we can see exactly where the worst of the wind shear is, so to speak. Hasn't updated since the last update. But notice the reds, those are all outbound. The greens are all inbound, indicating it looks like that spin of the atmosphere virtually east of Worth Center and just now crossing the line from Jefferson County into Lewis County, just to the west of Montague. That's where the tightest circulation is. The Doppler radar will also show if there's show us if there's any wind shear associated with this. Not seeing any. Oh, there you go. A little bit of wind shear. It looks like just to the east of Worth Center. This is the Doppler radar doing its thing. It's got a bunch of algorithms. This is a supercomputer after all, and it's telling us so there's about 7 meters per second of wind shear. It's about maybe 15, 20 miles per hour. Not a whole lot. Not like you would see. Say, remember a couple of years back, we had that big storm that rolled through Turin, but still enough wind shear, anyways, for the National Weather Service to keep this tornado warning going, just to the east of Worth Center. All right, let's go ahead and check our correlation coefficient again, our debris tracker, and we'll see if we can actually see any debris being lofted in the air, and it looks like nothing at this time. This is all rain, as indicated by the reds and also the oranges. So not seeing any debris from this particular storm. All we're seeing right now is just heavier rain and also maybe some gusty winds as the storm just kind of rolls on through. Looks like the worst of the precipitation right now over towards Rector, over towards Montague, over towards Parker's. Never been out that way, Parker's anyways, but I've been to Montague and Rector as well, and that's where the worst of the rain is. The actual circulation itself just now crossing the Jefferson County, Lewis County line. And all this activity has been moving off to the east at about 30 miles per hour. All right, let's go ahead and check that velocity data once again, because it's rather interesting to me. The heaviest of the rain just to the east of the circulation center. Now, normally that's not the case. Normally you would think the worst of the rain would be where the circulation is the greatest, and it appears like right now that is not the case. So there you see the actual rotation. Just to the west of Montague. It's starting to fall apart a bit. Now, that kind of makes sense to me, too, considering we are, as we're getting a little bit closer to the Doppler radar, we're actually, we're actually seeing a little bit more in the way of a little bit less as far as we're actually seeing a little bit less as far as that circulation. So, all right, what appears like right now, we're not seeing a tornado on the ground. This has been weakening quite a bit. So we're going ahead and we're going to go ahead and keep our eyes on the storm. We're going to return you to regular broadcasting, actually our show on the air, and we'll definitely keep our eyes on this storm. Appreciate you tuning in, though.